Hi, welcome back to our channel. Glad you decided to come back because today we have a very important topic to talk about. This is about the changing economy. This is about businesses in general being in a situation where they are actually laying off people, where companies are trying to cut costs, where companies are going back to the basics, because quite honestly, many of those companies are in survival mode. And this also applies, even though I say the word companies, but it applies to the nonprofits, it applies to a variety of organizations. Everybody is looking for money when it comes to inflation. Charities have less money because people are giving less, people are spending less. And when it comes to you trying to find a job, what we're going to talk about today is new strategies that you can use to succeed where so many others might be failing. Let's get started. When we talk about new strategies, we're talking about how you can separate yourself from other people. One of the things that happens in this economy is that there are more people looking for less jobs. So where before you could worry about, can I work from remotely? Can I work from home? You could worry about, is it a hybrid situation? Do I have to go in the office? Where is the office? Who am I working with? All of those things that were so important yesterday and last week and last year, they're gone. Let me say that again. They are gone. Now you're looking to compete for a job, which may not necessarily be at a higher salary or a higher rate of compensation. How is that possible? Well, when the employers are looking for less people, they have more leverage than you do. They're holding all the cards basically. They're looking for people, and this doesn't change. Even in the worst of times, companies will be looking to hire people because they still have things they have to do. They still have projects that have to get done. They still are in a situation where they're looking for people, but they're looking for different skills. So they're calling for different strategies. So we're going to talk about a couple of key points today. We're going to be talking about how you can present your value to those people who are the hiring managers, in particular the hiring managers. And we're going to talk about a couple of key points here in terms of those very hiring managers. So let's talk about point number one. Point number one is, from the time a job description is posted in tough times and economic times when we're looking for people, but we're looking for skill sets, we're looking for people who can be productive, we're looking for people who can add value to our organization. What happens is, from the time I post that job description to the time I interview for that job, the position will probably have changed. So you, as the person interviewing for that job, have to ask the question, what skills are you currently looking for? And where before you may have had most of those skills, you might be missing a key skill. Or before they didn't advertise that they were looking for a certain skill, and you might have that skill. These are all critical things. How do you know? You ask. So no longer can you assume that what they posted for between the time when they posted it and when you interview, that the position is still the same. You must ask, and you must be prepared to respond to whatever changes they may have had. That's point number one. Point number two, I talk about having different strategies. Well, when you have fewer jobs to pick from and you have more people looking to work at that particular job, they are going to get a lot of unqualified people. So don't assume that because you don't have everything that they posted in that job description, don't assume that you have less skills than someone else. You may in fact have more or as many skills, and now we get to those secondary skills. Secondary skills are your soft skills. You're a team player, you communicate well, you're a problem solver, you get things done. Those skills are just as important to the hiring manager. Again, they're looking for value and they're looking for productivity. Those skills are just as important to the hiring manager as the skills that they list down as the hard skills of what they're absolutely positively looking for. So your strategy again has to be different. And then the other point that I wanted to stress is that the old ways of writing resumes and putting stuff on your LinkedIn profile and going through networking, by the way, is going to be increasingly more important to you. You've heard the old saying, it's not what you know, but who you know. That's true, and networking is critical. Your strategy is going to have to change. Now, just for a second, I'd like to talk about the fact that we here at the Career Success Academy, by the way, I'm Steve if this is your first time here. The Career Success Academy has services specifically designed to help you in these tough times. We even have short conversations where we can talk about the strategies, where you can tell us what you're currently doing and we can make some suggestions to you as an individual to help you get a job. So, keep that in mind as we go forward. Now, today we're going to talk about a very specific topic. But before I talk about that topic, I would like to go back to those key points that we just talked about and recap those before we go forward. Take a look. So what we talked about, new strategies are needed. We talked about you have value, but you must be able to communicate that value to that next employer. And we actually were talking about how the old ways are no longer going to work in this new environment. Now let me preface everything else I'm going to say by saying many of you weren't even born, you weren't alive the last time we went through an economy like this. And some of you people were, but you don't remember when we really had a situation like this, which was back in the 1970s and 1980s. So I understand you haven't lived through the experience, which is one of the reasons why we are so concerned about transferring our knowledge to you so that you can be successful in tougher times. Today we're going to talk about when you have the opportunity to go to a job fair. Now, I recently had the experience of sitting down at one of the places I talked to, a university, and I met with a number of people. It was almost 40 people. And we talked about this very topic, going to your very first job fair. And if it's not your first job fair, job fairs are different in these tough economic times. Why? Well, first and foremost, here are companies getting together at a particular location because they are truly looking for people. This isn't about ghosting or we might not need or we're collecting resumes. No, these companies are spending money. They're investing people coming to meet with candidates at a particular place at a particular time. And if you go to that job fair, I guarantee you those companies are looking for people. So the first thing I would say to you is research who is going to be at the job fair. Again, the job description of what they are posting may no longer be 100% pure. So you have to take a look at that organization and say, hey, it's in a good location for me, it's in the right area. The skills they're looking for are in my area of expertise. This is what I studied for, or this is where I have the experience. And you need to take a look and do your research, prepare before you go to that job fair. Now, when you go to the job fair and you get to talk to someone, make sure that you have a current resume on paper. You hand it to them. Make sure that the resume, and this is the only thing I'll say about resumes today, make sure it communicates your value to the person reading your resume. What's the purpose of your resume? To get you an interview. You go to the job fair, and guess what? They're going to speak with you. That is an interview. So you want them to take that physical resume, and you want them, there's only like two boxes there. A box of, hey, we want to interview these people, and hey, we don't want to interview these people. You want to be in the interview box. That means you have to be a likable person. You have to smile. You have to have what they call an elevator pitch. You have to tell me at that job fair, I'm the hiring person, tell me who you are, what you can do, and what your value is to me. Value are your soft skills. Again, we talked about it before. You're a good communicator. You like to get things done right the first time. You are a team player. You can be a leader. You could be a jack of all trades or a Jill of all trades. You are a multitasking, productive individual, and everything you're saying is either a hard skill or a soft skill. Ask them specifically what they're looking for, and they'll tell you 2 or 3 things, and they'll say it in the order of importance. Now, one of the things that you can do is you can find out from the person who's asking the questions, people that you're meeting with, find out if they are an HR person or are they one of the hiring managers. If they are one of the hiring managers, you have just cut through all the red tape. You are talking to a hiring manager. Do not waste the opportunity. Your goal is to be remembered and to be liked. Why do I keep saying to be liked? Because people do not hire people that they don't like. Think about it. If you don't like somebody, you're not going to hire them. They're going in the do not hire, throw them away box. So you want to be remembered and you want to be liked. That is critical in times where, and I'm going to tell you why, okay? Because they may have another position that they didn't even post for, that you may be a perfect fit for, and you just don't know it because they didn't post for that job. Do not waste the opportunity. So, when you go to a job fair, dress business casual. Dress to impress. If you have an accent, And I don't care if you're from the southern part of the United States, or you're in the western part of the United States, or where you're from. You could be from another culture. When you speak your name, speak it slowly and clearly. Why? Because if I can't remember your name, especially if it's hard to read on a piece of paper, your resume. If I don't remember your name, I will not like you as much. Take the time to smile, tell them your name, give them a hearty handshake, and be a good communicator. Okay. We covered a lot of ground here. I've been talking for a long time. What I'm going to do is pause, and we're going to recap. And while we're recapping, think about two things: how lucky you are to go to that job fair, and what you're going to do to make sure that you are remembered. Okay, let's recap. Okay, let's put a nice finish to the idea. We talked before very briefly about the elevator pitch, who you are, what you can do, and what value you have to me as the hiring person. We talked about being likable. We talked about being remembered. We talked about speaking clearly and being a good communicator. Well, there's one thing I want to talk about here. And this is universal. This is the big tip. This is the secret sauce. And I can imagine the people that I met with a couple of days ago are all chuckling because I keep talking about the secret sauce. But there's two words. The first word is confidence. When you're meeting these people, I want you to be confident in your own skills. And the second word is competence. Competence. You know what you know. Be confident in what you know. Because they're seeing a lot of people, especially at a job fair, that do not have confidence, are not good communicators. And whether they have the skills or not to do the job, if they can't communicate that to the people that are doing the interviewing, they're going in that box that says do not interview, do not hire. Be confident, be competent. Be very confident in what you know. In hard times, we all want to hire people. Not only are likable, not only are memorable, but people that are going to make us look good. In other words, if I hire you, I want somebody to come up to me and say, hey, you really hired a good person there. That person you hired is really doing a good job. That's what every hiring manager wants to hear. They don't want to hear that someone is new on the team and they're not really working out. That's the worst thing in the world that can happen for that hiring manager, and they will avoid that at all costs. Be confident in what you know. Be confident in your value to that company, and be confident that you can multitask and do that job. Because that confidence is contagious, and you will make them glad. You'll make them happy. You'll make them proud that they hired you, even in bad economic times. Again, my name is Steve. Please take the time to share this with other people so that they can benefit from this too. Go to our website, please. Sign up for, I think it's a 15-minute conversation. We do it on Zoom. And let us help you in these difficult economic times. Thank you for being here. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye-bye.